Welcome back to Liz and Sandro's Marketing Podcast. We are the podcast that helps companies and marketing departments control their business, their brand, and get the word out. Today, Liz is going to talk about the pros and cons of incorporating pop culture and current events into your marketing.
That's right. This isn't a topic that we've covered solely in one episode. I feel like it's come up sporadically throughout the course of our 350 plus episodes. But we thought this would be a great topic to debate. Topic is courtesy of our good friend Jeff. Just so we're all on the same page, I wanted to toss out several examples of what we're referring to here. So when Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris catches on fire, major event that everyone was posting about on Instagram. When the power goes out at the Super Bowl, and Oreos famously capitalizes on that in a tweet.
That was great. Yeah.
That was great. And finally, when a celebrity dies and people give shout outs and tributes. So those are the kind of events that we're referring to that kind of can quickly overtake your social media news feed. So let's start with some pros. I think if you do some sort of social post tribute, if you do it quickly, if you do it appropriately, you definitely have the potential to generate some viral content. And I think as long as it is in line with your brand, then I think it can do very well. I know, Sandro, you do a lot of work for movie theaters.
Correct. And this is a treasure trove, unfortunately, of content for us. When a famous person like Stan Lee passed away, we put up a great picture. I have to dig through a bunch of photos of Stan Lee, but I try to find the most unique one that isn't out there a lot. We found one of him talking to this little girl and signing her autograph, and she was wearing a Thor t-shirt, and it was very cute. And we shared that, and we looked up a great quote by Stan Lee, an inspirational quote. And all we tweeted and posted on Instagram was a photo and the quote. We didn't mention any hashtags about our brand or about us or about selling tickets or anything. It was all about him because he's such an icon. So yeah, we definitely do that and those posts take off like crazy, especially the more unique the photo is, the more inspirational the quote is by that person. Those posts definitely take off on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook too. We were surprised by the engagement with that. People have a connection to some of these actors.
Yeah, so that's a great example when it can work very well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, what's interesting about this is Sandro and I were jotting down notes and prepping for this episode. We actually have more cons than pros. So let's get into some of the cons. If you do something in poor taste, I think it can backfire and it can definitely hurt your brand. If something is overdone, or if you're not one of the first to do it, I think it can become old news. So going back to the Notre Dame Cathedral fire I mentioned in my first example, by the end of the day, my feed had been just filled with any and every photo of Notre Dame Cathedral. Like, I was over it by then. So if your brand is posting about something 12 hours after the fact, again, it may be old news. It may not be worth it at that point.
You better have a unique take on it. Correct?
Exactly.
At that point.
Yeah.
You're right. I saw every angle, every nighttime, daytime, raining, sunny picture of Notre Dame Cathedral on my feed, and I was like kind of over it. Yeah. One other challenge or con would be it's high maintenance. If your brand has a reputation of using these references, pop culture references or immediate news things, your customers may come to expect it, and it's putting the expectation on your content creator. If you're a small business owner, it's just you. You may not have time to create all this content right away.
Yeah, it does seem that the brands that do that well are larger brands.
They have a team.
They have a team and they're on staff and they can produce this type of content pretty much at any time.
Right. Like another big event that happened, current events, pop culture, was the ending of Game of Thrones. And I watched Game of Thrones, but I'll be honest with you, I don't remember what happened in season 6 generally. So sometimes people were creating content that referenced season 6, and I was like, what was that all about? Even though I watched all of Game of Thrones. So you need a team that is all about that. If you're going to create something like that, you better be up on your Game of Thrones stuff. And I'm definitely not. Something else you can also, going along with the Game of Thrones, potentially, you could alienate some of your customers. If your marketing seems like an inside joke, like there are tons of people that did not watch or did not read Game of Thrones, aren't into it, and that's fine. So maybe your posts will be over their heads. They may not understand it. They'll just scroll by it. They'll feel like they're out of the loop and may not be cool enough for your brand. So you got to keep that in mind also.
I think if you are a brand that wants to start experimenting with this type of content, there are a couple things to keep in mind. First and foremost, I think you should give it a try. Start experimenting. It may be just you. It may be you and maybe your marketing manager that's, again, starting to create some content around pop culture, current events. Start producing this content, getting into a rhythm. It's kind of like if you're writing a novel, you should just always be chipping away at it, writing X number of words a day. I think just challenge yourself to see what's going on in the world and see if you can create some fun, interesting pop culture content. Maybe you never even publish it to start, but just to get into that routine and that kind of creative space. Start there. I think, Sandro, I loved your suggestion of sharing it with a small group of people.
Yeah, if any of them kind of cringes, like at this moment as we're recording, there is a big hurricane going on over the Bahamas.
Oh, yes.
Obviously, you don't want to create any hurricane, horrible tragedy.
That is a piece. Yes. Storms, natural disasters. Yes, you can go at that again with good intentions, and it can kind of turn out in poor taste when it actually translates to a tweet or an Instagram post.
And one other tip, you can also have a marketing calendar. The content doesn't have to be something that just happened immediately. Every year there's Shark Week for the Discovery Channel. You can create some Shark Week posts that you use every year, or that's something you may want to think about. You look ahead and know Shark Week's a month away or 3 weeks away with your marketing content calendar. And maybe you'll start thinking, hey, shark tacos are on the menu, or I don't know, something like that. So it doesn't have to be things that are happening immediately. You can practice by
That's a good point.
Ahead.
Halloween, Thanksgiving? Are there some funny meme type
Pirate Day is coming up actually?
Yeah. Are there some things that happen every year that you can again flex your creative muscles around and just practice? And don't feel like you have to do this for every single thing, every pop culture event that happens. Maybe something happened in the morning and you were in meetings all day and you're finally circling around to something and it's 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's okay to just let it go, let it pass. Tomorrow you'll wake up and there'll be something new going on in the world that, again, you can try to create some fun pop culture-y content around that. So don't feel like you have to jump on every single thing that happens. I would be selectful and mindful of what you actually choose to publish. And my final tip would be, Sandro, going back to your point of alienating the audience too, I think it really helps to know who your target market is. And again, be selective about what you choose to build some content around, because if your target market doesn't care about Game of Thrones, just because it's the biggest thing on TV that week or that weekend doesn't mean you have to create content around it.
Yeah, we have one of our cinemas is mainly skewed towards classics or oldies, or they do a lot of oldie stuff. And when Peter Fonda died recently, we posted it there. We didn't post it to the more trendy suburban movie theater. We posted the Stan Lee one to that one, but not the more classic, more independent cinema, artful cinema. That makes sense. Their audience skewed older at this independent cinema, and they knew Peter Fonda was. I barely know who Peter Fonda is, to be honest with you, but they loved it.
Jane Fonda's father, right?
Yes, and he was in
some pretty big movies.
The motorcycle one. Holy cow, I can't believe it. He was an Easy Rider with Dennis Hopper.
Okay.
A classic, a quintessential 1960s motorcycle road trip movie, buddy movie.
I have not seen that. Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
It's, in people's top 50 films of all time, because it made motorcycles cool and tattoos cool and things like that.
Very cool.
So it trended. That audience at that independent cinema skews higher and older, and it was perfect for them. So know your audience, just like you said.
Know your audience, yeah. I think you probably do a little bit more because you work for the theater. You probably do more of this type of content than I do for clients.
And
now,
I was going to say one last tip. If you really are looking for something to create, go into Twitter, look at the top 10 trending subjects, and you're going to see something, maybe a hashtag like this morning's, the day we're recording, the trending hashtag was the thing I miss most. And I clicked on it just to see what people are sharing with the thing I miss most. And 9 out of the 10 things were my mom. Everybody was posting about they miss their mom, If you had something great to say about that hashtag, jump in and do it. But if you didn't, you can let it go. But if you're looking for trending topics, something to talk about, Twitter's trending topics is a great place to go.
Question for you. Do you think there is a channel, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, that excels at pop culture and current event memes?
Definitely Twitter is probably the top.
Yeah.
And then Instagram is probably second.
Yeah. I don't see quite as much of it on Facebook.
Yeah, or if I do, I see it like 3 days later, and then I'm like, what?
You're like, that's old news at this point.
Yeah,
but yeah, there are some really creative Twitter accounts that can just churn this stuff out. It's
Correct.
great.
Yeah. And we're taking a quick look at the trends. And today is Keanu Reeves' birthday, and he's the number 2 trending thing around the country.
So there you have it. Some pros and cons of incorporating pop culture into your marketing. I don't think it's easy, but I would definitely encourage you to experiment with it and see where it goes.
Yeah, if you get it right, the highs can be very high. The feedback can be very high.
Yeah.
Thanks for all this, Liz. Great pros and cons, things to think about if you want to incorporate pop culture or current events into your marketing. If you have any questions or a topic you'd like us to cover, drop us a line. We'll give you a shout out in our show and a link back from our website. You will find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We're also on YouTube. And you'll find us wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next time.